Good morning. It is Sunday, February 26th. I'm Abby Huntsman, and this is a Fox News alert. While you were sleeping, a Mardi Gras celebration takes a terrifying turn after a car plows through a crowd of people.
Now, we got multiple injured and all treated off.
Got the latest on those injured and who was behind the wheel. That's just moments away.
Plus, President Trump turning down a dinner date with the press, telling them he's out of this year's Correspondents' Dinner. Is the snub a smart move for the president?
And it's the image that has the PC police outraged and up in arms. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
It's April, the pregnant giraffe.
Been watching this all morning.
Yeah, we've got a live webcam watching to see when April will give birth.
Wait, I didn't know we were waiting for that.
I've never seen a live giraffe.
Fox and Friends Hour 2 starts right now.
Yeah.
That's us, that's right. Gotta love this American ride. Both ends of the ozone burning. Funny how the world keeps turning.
Beautiful sunrise at Daytona, Florida, Daytona Beach, Florida for the Daytona 500. Rick Reichmuth is live from there this morning, right on the track.
They're letting him just roam the track.
Yeah, that's got to be trouble.
Beautiful morning, though, in Daytona.
But I think he'd be sad, though, because Rick usually likes to watch, like, the live webcams of baby owls being born.
Loves
you know,
these
He's into that.
Bald eagles.
Yeah.
So we got the baby giraffe. Like, it could happen during our show this morning.
Have you ever seen that happen live?
A giraffe?
No, but it's got to be dramatic, I feel like.
So
No,
our
sure
crew, I
it's-
came in this morning, and 5 minutes before the show started, they had it up on all of our screens, and our whole crew was just mesmerized, waiting for this to happen. So they're going to keep us updated on this when it does happen.
We have good luck on the show. Remember, the eagle was hatched
Right.
During a couple of weekends ago. The bald eagle.
It happened
Our
during
show-
the show.
During our show.
Our show causes animals to give birth.
Induces labor.
Right, induces labor. That's going to be our new tagline of this show. Fox and Friends, we induce labor.
I love that. So I want to give a quick update because we've been talking about the Oscars this morning and how they're on tonight. And someone just tweeted me, Brian Goodwin, saying, I'd rather listen to audio of Clayton coughing than actually watch the Oscars
I've got
tonight.
Mucinex. I'm still on the
He's
Mucinex.
recovering a
No,
little
he's
bit
still
today.
sick.
I'll record it on a loop and I'll send it to you.
All night long.
That was Clayton yesterday.
All right, we do have... I'm going to wait for the coughing, Dan, because we do have some very serious news to get to that happened last night. I want to get you right to that. It's a Fox News alert. And 5 people that were seriously hurt after a Mardi Gras celebration takes a terrifying turn when an accused drunk driver plows right through the crowd.
Now, we got multiple injured and all treated off.
Police in New Orleans, they say the pickup truck hit 2 cars before losing control, hitting a group of parade goers. At least 28 people were hurt. The youngest victim, just 3 years old. Well, police say the driver was highly intoxicated. He is now in custody. Also, the White House this morning is firing back at the mainstream media over reports that the Trump administration excluded CNN and the New York Times from a press briefing. Press Secretary Sean Spicer setting the record straight last night on justice with Judge Janine.
There is a pool that is set up by the White House Correspondents Association that is representation, TV, radio, and it rotates daily who's in that pool. They tell us who's in the pool. We don't tell them. And at the end, what we did is we chose to have a gaggle and invite some additional members of the media to come and be part of it, which we have every right to do.
CNN declaring the incident as retaliation over their reporting of so-called fake news. And this morning, as we've been talking about, all eyes are on Giraffe Watch 2017. Zookeepers at New York's Animal Adventure Park say April, the pregnant giraffe, could give birth at any moment. You are looking right now at the live look at the mommy-to-be in her pen. Millions of you have been glued to this live stream waiting for April's special delivery. And I'm so excited. I really hope that we get to see this live. As you said, we're good luck on the show.
We got 3 hours.
You never know.
Good luck, April.
April wears it well. I couldn't really tell. I didn't see her baby bump there. Well, President Trump tweeting last night saying, and sort of set the world on fire, the press corps, and everyone wondering whether or not he would be at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Well, Trump answered it last night with this tweet. I will not be attending the White House Correspondents Association dinner this year. Please wish everyone well and have a great evening. It takes place in April. And people are wondering, wow, I guess the feud is continuing.
Well,
here.
just a reminder that President Trump does things a little bit differently. You know, and this is another, I think, slap in the face
Well, what does he
to
have
the
to gain?
media.
Backhand
Like,
to
you
the
know,
face.
I'm not going to do it your way.
And what does he have to gain for going to this, by the way?
Great point. Exactly. And I think that's why, personally, I think it's a fantastic move. He skipped things before when he thinks he's going to be treated unfairly. Why does he think he'd be treated fairly at all? Because there's a point where humor is humor, and George W. Bush has done it, and Obama did it. But the press is so hysterical about him, their humor is going to be probably not funny, and they're going to want to do it right at him. Why does he need that? And so I think it's a good move. And people out there say, what's the White House Correspondents' Dinner? I didn't get an invite to the black tie dinner. Right. I don't really care about this soiree called the Nerd Prom in Washington, D.C.
Well, you don't think our viewers are sitting there on Saturday night watching it on C-SPAN?
On live stream. But
Right.
normally, so this has been going on since the 1920s, and normally this is sort of a way for the press to come together with the president, sort of poke jabs at each other, have a little bit of fun, and appreciate each other's job and how important that is. But the climate this time, I think it actually makes sense, because you've already had a lot of a liberal side saying, we're not going to throw our parties this year. And he's just saying, I'm not going to go at all. I'm over this.
The association, though, sent out a tweet saying, you know, we're sorry the president's not going to be there, but we're still planning to have a great night. We're going to still honor the press. We're going to still honor the relationship with the White House.
We'll see
even
who
though the
goes. We'll
president's
see
not
who
there.
ends up showing.
I bet
Right.
President Trump keeps a keen eye on the ratings of this year's White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Do they have ratings?
There's no way they'll be what they were in the past without President Trump.
So we
there.
asked you what you thought this morning of this situation, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and your responses, they continue to pour in, so keep letting us know what you think. This is an email from Mary. She says, I'm glad the president is not going to the press dinner. If they can't respect him, why would he come?
Yep, email from Gina says, President Trump is proving that he takes his job seriously. He's got better things to do than sit in a room with so many people who create falsehoods.
And an email from Robert. What percentage of the crowd at the White House Correspondents' Dinner do you suppose are Trump voters?
Not many. But, you know, over the years, it's really become more of a Hollywood elite, media elite fest.
Right.
You know, you always get the announcements of which celebrities are showing up this year. Is it going to be Kim Kardashian? Is it going to be Lindsay Lohan? This is not the place.
It's become a show. You're right. It used to actually be a journalist dinner, right?
Yeah.
And now it's become a little bit more of a
lot of journalists have actually spoken out in recent years saying, I'm never going to this dinner again because it's not what it used to be. It's not what it's made for. It's more like a red carpet celebrity fest. So
Yeah,
he's actually not
glad-handing
alone.
was-
A lot of people in the media have stopped going.
Well, meanwhile, talking about glad-handing and Celebrity Fest, tonight is the Oscars. It's the Academy Awards, and the New York Times has decided to buy an ad that's going to air tonight during the Academy Awards in order to resuscitate its reputation. Of course, this battle with President Trump and him calling him the failing New York Times. Here is their television commercial you will see tonight during the Academy Awards.
And it really is.
Locker-room talk is harmless. The truth is, we need to put the safety of the American people.
The truth is, we need a full investigation of any ties to Russia.
That's playing right to their audience tonight.
Yeah, right to their people. They
Right.
played at the Oscars.
Their
for all the
subscription levels are just going through the roof after that.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Not adding a whole lot of new people there.
President Trump tweeted just this morning in response to this ad. He said, for the first time, the failing New York Times will take an ad, a bad one, to help save its failing reputation. Try reporting accurately and fairly. And that is the point. It's so ironic that the ad says the truth, the truth, the truth. If only the New York Times was in any way the standard bearer of the truth. It's a standard bearer of one side of the spectrum. Long ago stopped being any sort of an independent press. And that's what's the worst, I think, to President Trump and to so many of us. Don't tell me you're middle of the road when you're not. And they clearly haven't learned that lesson. An ad like this, I think, shows that.
Yeah, we'll see tonight. And if you go to their website, of course, they have a big ad right up there for, adding subscriptions and being the truth is hard.
I hope it's their
Support us.
entire front
Yes.
page.
They need to.
Well, what's the other one? The Washington Post had "Democracy dies in darkness."
Right.
Yeah, that's their new tagline of the Washington Post. I mean, they're unhinged.
All right,
And
so there has been a ton of news this weekend. I feel like we always get that on the weekend shows. I mean, Saturday and Sundays, it's always crazy. But yesterday was the race for who was going to head up the DNC, a really important role to figure out how the Democratic Party picks itself up and starts winning races again.
So we thought that it would be Keith Ellison on the right. His name, of course, was at the top for many, many months.
Yeah.
And out of the blue comes an Obama favorite on the left side of your screen, former Obama Labor Secretary Tom Perez. And we were talking about this yesterday on the show. That was the Clinton, that was the Clinton team's favorite. That's the Obama team's favorite. would he suddenly be, come out of the blue, would the elites, would the establishment push him over and I saw the alert come through yesterday afternoon, and I just smiled.
You were so
I said,
surprised, Clayton.
Here we go. Congratulations to Thomas Perez. It's just been named the chairman of the DNC. This is what President Trump tweeted yesterday. I could not be happier for him or for the Republican Party.
Of course, Tom Perez tweeted right back at him. He says, "Call me Tom, and don't get too happy. Keith Ellison and I and Democrats united across the country will be your worst nightmare."
The key word there is united. Are they really united? And he won on the second ballot amongst, really with the overwhelming support of the establishment inside the DNC. But from one article just this morning, after the results were announced, angry Ellison loyalists rose from their seats in the back of the ballroom and tried to shout down the outgoing interim disgraced chair, Donna Brazile, chanting, "Party for the people, not big money." So if you think the fracture inside the Democratic Party is improving, they could talk all they want about unity, but this might actually instead further divide it, where the grassroots really wanted Keith Ellison and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. And instead, the Clinton, as you said, Clayton, the Clinton-Obama machine had enough strength still, just enough inside the establishment to push someone like Tom Perez through and marginalize those more left-wing voices. Where does this stop, and how does it heal the Democratic Party?
This might make them even more frustrated. We had Ed Klein on our couch last hour, and he's saying there's a lot going on underneath it all, behind the scenes, that we're not talking about, with the Bernie Sanders people going around to different states on the local grassroots level to try to get their leaders in, really against the establishment and Hillary Clinton. And they feel like they could be more effective than even the DNC can in terms of bringing out their message and getting people to the polls.
And you heard Michael Moore. He was frustrated by this vote. He said he couldn't believe it. And here we go again. I guess we'll have to look elsewhere for some leadership. Michael Moore slamming the decision yesterday to put Tom Perez in.
Double gut punch for grassroots leftists who want to do their own fundamental transformation of America, whether it's socialism or opening up our borders or whatever. The D.C. consultant class, they got another victory yesterday.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they've got to come together if they want to start winning elections. They've got to figure out what their unifying message is. How are they going to get people enthused and motivated to get to those polls? Because that's ultimately what wins election. If you want to have a difference in politics, if you really want your party to be winning, you've got to win at the polls.
And we've got Alan Dershowitz is going to be on the show a little bit later. He's coming up on Fox and Friends next to talk all about this.
And when you ask a lot of Democrats what their stance is, they'll say social justice, economic justice, racial justice, environmental justice. Okay, those are good buzzwords. What does that really mean? What's your platform to the average voter in Middle America who you lost?
Well, we heard in his speech last night was resistance. That was his speech last night. That main word was resistance.
But Hillary Clinton tweeted that out as well yesterday. Remember, she said, "I'm going to be behind you all the way." More resistance, more. Basically, she was saying more protesting, more anger. Which, whether that leads to success, we'll have to wait.
Persistence and resistance. Good rhyming, not good policy. Anyway, President Trump says Paris isn't the same after so many terror attacks.
And I said, "Jim, let me ask you a question. How's Paris doing?" "Paris? I don't go there anymore. Paris is no longer Paris."
Well, this morning, France's president firing back, and you're going to want to hear what he has to say to our president.
Plus, George Clooney giving us a possible preview of tonight's Oscars.
As citizens of the world, we're going to have to work harder and harder not to let hate win. Love trumps hate. Courage trumps fear.
This hour, actor and game show host Chuck Woolery has a message for those in Hollywood. Don't miss that. He'll be with us.
Well, my baby's clean out of sight. Don't you know that she's some kind of wonderful? She's some kind of wonderful. Yes, she is. She's some kind of wonderful. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mr. Tom Perez. Mr. Perez, congratulations.
And the motion I would like to make to the body is a motion suspending the rules, if I may, to appoint Keith Ellison deputy chair of the Democratic National Committee.
That's former Labor Secretary Tom Perez edging out top rival Congressman Keith Ellison as the new DNC chair. But Ellison is still getting a seat at the table, as you heard.
Yeah, and our next guest, a lifelong Democrat, said he would leave the party if Ellison was in charge. So what does he think about this development?
Joining us now is Harvard University law professor Alan Dershowitz. Professor, thanks for joining us this morning. So you saw these results. Was this the election of Tom Perez, is this a real directional change? More moderates or the establishment's in charge, or is this just a last gasp of the Clinton-Obama regime, but the party really does want to move further left?
And are you staying in the party?
Well, I think I'm staying in the party because Ellison was defeated, and the Ellison defeat is a victory in the war against bigotry, anti-Semitism, the anti-Israel push of the hard left within the Democratic Party. Look, I wish that Perez hadn't appointed Ellison to any position in the Democratic Party, but I'm going to stay in the Democratic Party and work to try to move it toward the center, to try to move it away from the hard left, to try to move it away from its twist toward opposition to Israel and toward American values. It's going to be an uphill fight, but I'm there to fight that battle. We won this battle. We won the battle when at the convention they tried to put an anti-Israel element in the platform. We won that narrowly. So I think we can still fight and win for centrist values. Look, the Democrats are marginalizing themselves. They have to understand we are not a hard left country. When the Democrats nominated McGovern, when they nominated Dukakis, when they nominated Walter Mondale, the three of them together didn't get enough electoral votes to win one election. You'd think they'd learn the lesson, that they have to move to the center. We are a centrist country. And I worry that the Republicans are moving too far right in some ways. The Democrats are moving too far left. It's happening in Europe. We have to return to the vital center and have debates between centrist liberals and centrist conservatives. That's where our country is.
You know, I'll never forget throughout the campaign, when we got close to the election, I spent some time in Scranton, Pennsylvania, many Democrats in that area. And a lot of them told me for the first time in their life they were switching their vote to go Republican because they said we are not inspired. And this is a place where Joe Biden's father was born. I think Hillary Clinton's father was buried there as well. And it made me realize the Democrats, they are struggling to find that message that does inspire people that live in places like Scranton, Pennsylvania. What is your answer to that?
That's where they have to win. They have to win in the center of the country. They do not have to try to attract the Jill Stein Green Party voters. Those people, those extremists, will never vote for a liberal Democrat because nobody will ever be far enough left for them. They have to attract people in middle America. They have to attract the people they lost in the last election in Minnesota, in Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And Keith Ellison's not going to do that. He will alienate all those people. So it was a smart move on the part of the Democratic, quote, establishment to move slightly toward the center. But I'm worried that the pressure from the Sanders wing is still going to push.
They're still going to push. What would cause you to leave other than Ellison having been elected?
Well, for me, Ellison was a point of principle. I wouldn't leave the Democratic Party because they were moving slightly to the left. I'll fight them.
Sure.
It's because of his history of anti-Semitism, his close connection to Farrakhan, his abandonment of Israel. He voted against the Iron Dome. Can you imagine any reasonable person voting against a missile system that's designed to protect innocent civilians against terrorist rocket attacks?
Absolutely.
And so that was my principled opposition.
Well,
it was about him as a person.
We'll have to leave it right there, but that is your new deputy chair.
We're going to keep checking in with you,
it,
each month to see where you stand on things.
All right, Professor, thanks a lot. Who's tired of hearing from liberal Hollywood elites whine about their election loss? Well, legendary game show host Chuck Woolery has a message for the whiners in Hollywood next.
And welcome back. Time now for your news by the numbers. First up, $1.5 million. That's how much Rutgers University shelled out for former President Barack Obama's commencement speech last May. Most of the money going towards extensive security measures that were needed for the visit. Next, 50%. That's how many college kids think their student loans will be forgiven, according to a new survey. LendEDU says the actual number of students who may qualify for federal loan forgiveness is below 10%. And $4.66. That's the average cash payout from the Tooth Fairy. According to a new Delta Dental survey, the Tooth Fairy paid $290 million last year for lost teeth. My son just lost 2 this week.
And to go and
he's racking. I don't even know. I mean, he's racking it up.
You know,
he gets like I think the Tooth Fairy left him like a $1 coin.
Oh, that's cool.
One of the coins, yeah.
That's cool.
The Tooth Fairy didn't leave me money. I got like a book.
Really? Well, maybe the Tooth Fairy thought you needed to read more.
Sending me a message. All right, so actor Casey Affleck giving us a possible preview of tonight's Academy Awards.
The policies of this administration are abhorrent, and they will not last. It's a time to struggle for the future and the soul of our nation. And I know this feels preachy and boring, and I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm just lending my little voice to the chorus here and saying that all of you, you are struggling. You're doing it so well and speaking up, and I'm really proud to be a part of this community for that reason. and because you give me trophies.
It's a little preachy, but when they're not bashing the president, the Hollywood elites are patting themselves on the back. So do they have anything to be proud of this year?
And they give him trophies. Here to weigh in is the host of the podcast Blunt Force Truth and the legendary game show host Chuck Woolery. Chuck, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
We're doing great.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, just what are you looking forward to, Chuck?
Well, you see, in 1973 at the 45th Academy Awards, Sacheen Littlefeather declined an Oscar for Marlon Brando because of Native Americans or whatever it is. So that happened then. Now, Roger Moore was the presenter. And little known fact, Roger Moore didn't have anybody to give the Oscar to, so he took it home. And 3 weeks later, the police showed up and took it back for the Academy. So now you go forward to tonight. I predicted Meryl Streep will win the Oscar for Best Actress, and she will have Elizabeth Warren stand in for her, reprising Sacheen Littlefeather's role. And she will decline the Oscar, and Hillary Clinton will be the presenter, and she will abscond with the Oscar, take it back to Chappaqua, and put it in her little chest up there right next to the Russian reset button.
Well, you heard Casey
Thank you,
Affleck
the
there.
Academy. Thank you very much for that. I'm a member of the Academy, and I vote, so I can say that.
You heard Casey Affleck last night at the Spirit Awards, which seems like it's a precursor of what we might see tonight. He's up for an Academy Award
Did
for
you ever
Manchester
see so many
by the Sea.
award shows in your life? There's an
No,
award for everything.
I don't know what the Spirit Award. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, what he said last night was, I know this sounds a little preachy. So he was aware. He was at least self-aware, and he said, "You guys have all been struggling." Those were his words to that audience. They've been struggling. These celebrities, Chuck.
It is. Yeah, I know they struggle a lot, and you know most of the things tonight at the Oscars is going to be we hate Trump and Trump is hateful and Trump's a bigot and he's you know it'll be the Trump show. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to watch it. Now it's I don't think it's on everybody's mind, but you know some of these people out there take this very seriously, just like I did when Obama was elected. I wasn't that thrilled about it, and I know a lot of my friends weren't either, but we didn't. You know, we didn't just start whining and crying, and we fought back as best we could, and we really didn't.
That's a great point.
You know, most of the Republican. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just want to pull up a poll just to give people a sense of exactly what you're saying. Asking people if they change the channel when celebs talk about politics. 66% of Trump voters, they say they changed the channel. 19% of Clinton voters, well, that makes sense because they're never really saying bad things about Hillary Clinton. But to your point there, I mean, have you seen over the years it change? Has it become more political, or is this year just out of the norm? Is this something like you've never seen before?
You know, it's interesting. I don't think it's become more political. I think it's become far more vicious. It is vicious on the left. I really believe that. Now, I kind of have fun with it and talk about it and tweet about it and we do a podcast about it and all that kind of stuff. But it's vicious over there.
Chuck, before we let you go, real quick, just your thoughts on President Trump saying, "I'm not going to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner this year." Have fun, everyone.
You know, here's the deal. The press did not make Donald Trump. He doesn't need them, and he doesn't care about them, and he's not going to be pushed around by them. I like it. The press is a free press. They can do anything. There's no place in the First Amendment that says you can't criticize the press. So I don't mind what he's doing at all. I know the press is very upset about it. Now, there are many people at Fox and CNN and MSNBC are all upset, but they'll get through it. They'll get over it, and he's the only person I know that's holding the